All right, everybody got the picture? So who would think in October in the Chicagoland area we'd have a beautiful day like this and a Bears bye week? Thank you very much. In 1869, the Union Central Pacific Railroads joined their rails in the Utah Territory and forged the destiny of a nation that defined the completion of the first transcontinental railroad that included the ceremony, the Golden Spike moment. The Pennsy Greenway now crosses the state line. It is now in the hands of the stakeholders along the Pennsy to make this hard work of others turn into a positive economic, social, and health benefits for this location.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We are certainly pleased at the great turnout that we had. As John said, today's dedication is a result of a lot of people's efforts from both states, our locally elected officials that I represent up at the state for supporting the grant funds that went into this project. I can't thank enough the two Department of Natural Resources and their representatives, NIRPC, our planning agency, and the Light Group on the Illinois side, and finally the locally elected officials from Lansing to Lan-Oak Park District in the town of Munster. I thank you for coming here, and I guess I would close by saying that projects like this, that those of us that have spent a lot of time in the public service, we remember that's why we got involved in working in public administration, public service, whether it's the county, the state, or state level, because it's these things that are everlasting and will go on for other generations. Before I bring Steve up to speak, I'd like to just say a few things, or say thank you to some folks from DNR. You know, many of you don't know all the stuff that the Department of Natural Resources done, but in 2008, you remember the floods that we had in northwest Indiana and Munster in particular. And without the help of DNR, a lot of things would not have gotten done. They were there until the water receded past the last house, which was 6 days after it first came over the river. And they were there 24 hours a day helping us and getting us into places that we couldn't. And they've been very helpful. More recently, I've had the opportunity to work with a group of people that are directly under Steve. He's the Director of Outdoor Recreation, and Bob Brunson is here. I didn't see some of the other folks, but they've helped us with some very complicated matters that are going to provide not only the addition of more recreation space, but allow us to redevelop some property that had some open land covenants on it into a different use, but in exchange we're going to end up with more acreage. And in a few years you may be invited to the opening of our 42-acre lake at Centennial Park that will be made available as part of one of these projects. So I'd like Steve Morris, from the Director of Outdoor Recreation, to come up and say a few words. Steve?
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. First of all, I'd like to pass along greetings from Indiana Governor Mike Pence and Indiana DNR Director Cameron Clark. They could not be here today, but they're here with us in spirit. My name again is Steve Morris. I'm the Director of DNR's Division of Outdoor Recreation. I'd like to say something about Indiana, where we've been with things the past few years. We came out with a state trails plan called Hoosiers on the Move in 2006. That trail plan calls for a trail within 7.5 miles or 15 minutes of all Hoosier residents. And that was a goal that we were going to set for the year 2016. Well, last year we realized we're already there. We already have a trail now within 7.5 miles of 98% of all Hoosier residents. And so we've raised the bar on that goal to now have a trail within 5 miles or 10 minutes of all Hoosier residents. And surprisingly, we're already at 93% of that goal as well. So this is not something that's just happening here in Munster or Lansing. It's happening all over the place. And it's important work that we're doing. When I look at our map of our state trails inventory, I see trails just all over. And I mean, sometimes it seems like it takes forever to get a trail, but when we look at the span of a lifetime or something, we are doing things very similar to what was done with the interstate system when it was built. And we're eventually going to have an interconnected system of trails, as somebody mentioned earlier, that not only cross through our communities and our regions, but across our state and our nation. And we're leaving a legacy of something that is very essential to our communities and our economies. I give kudos to everybody that was involved in the making this project happen. I was here when Lansing opened its section a couple of years back for that opening day, and now we're very excited to be here, knowing that now you can come this way into Indiana as well and visit us. But yeah, this stuff is so important for our communities, to make them great places to live, work, and play. And we're excited that we have this happening today, and look forward to more of it across all of our communities in the future. Thank you.
This event really is certainly special for me because in 1995, this is when Lansing had the opportunity to take a look at trying to buy this property. I was serving on a planning and zoning board, and at the time Mayor West said, Norm, we hear that the railroad property could be for sale. We'd like to maybe start working on it for a bike path. So he said, would you get started on that and see what we can do? So about 2 weeks later, Mayor and I and our village attorney, Tom Panicki, flew to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, to talk to the person in charge of real estate. We made an agreement to buy the property, and a month or two went by, and nothing was going on. And I got a hold of the people in Pittsburgh, and they said, well, the fellow you're dealing with retired. So, and also what the gentleman earlier said, that the railroad property, Pennsylvania, was in the process of selling between 1 and 2 different railroads at the same time. So it was really hard to get a hold of who actually owns the property of the railroad. But it ended up that we did acquire the property after a couple of years. And certainly the attorney for the park board, Ron Premack, did a lot of work. What you said earlier was the cost of the surveying was probably one of the more expensive things that we had to do, because we had to survey, I think it was 1.5 miles or 2 miles, John, I forget what our... 2 miles, yeah. 3 miles? So the cost of the engineering and surveying, it was a rather costly item, but we got it done. And certainly today, with the dedication that we're having today, is certainly really meaningful for me to be the mayor of Lansing now, and have gone through this all the way through from the time we bought it, and proud to be here today. So thank you very much for coming out today.
As being the newest board member, I got involved for projects like this. I got involved because I was a guy who would go to meetings and complain and bring things up, and got to a point where it's, okay, either shut up or get involved. So I got involved. And I did a little research the last couple of weeks on bike paths in general, and John had said, can you speak on behalf of the park board in regards to what this really means to the park board? So I'm like, okay, for me, it means a lot of different things. It means family togetherness. My son and I use the bike path all the time. I talk to some other families and they use it all the time. So that means a lot to me, not only as a resident, but as a park board member. It means exercise. I see people walking it all the time. So it just brings, I think, both communities, both towns together. I think it helps everybody. You look at property value, properties in general, everyone wants to be near a bike path. So on that end of it, I think it's great. I hope the rest of it continues and we keep the bike path moving and keep people moving. So thank you.
I just got here and I parked in the parking lot. I was trying to figure out how to get around this way. I said, I see the people, but how do you get there? But I think that's a great example of what we're seeing now. We see the demand. We know what we want to do. We want to exercise. We want to be connected. Communities being connected. We draw these imaginary lines. This is Indiana. This is Illinois. I'm the state representative for the 33rd district, the 34th district, whatever district. People just want to get around. They want to exercise. And this bike track that I support wholeheartedly was just an example of that. Folks just want to say, why can't I go from Indiana to Illinois? Why can't I just exercise along this path, determinative of what communities we are? And also, this is a great testament of the government and the tax dollars we spend. It's rare that regular folks get the opportunity to say, what is my state representative, what is the Department of Natural Resources doing for us? I pay my taxes. This is a great example. Government coming together with one cause just to get things done. So thank you to the department. I'm very supportive of it. City of Lansing, residents, Indiana. You got great representation. You got great departments working for you to get things done. So all the best to you. And I'm ready to. I got to get my bike out of with the cobwebs. I haven't rode a bike in a while. Probably since I started driving, I haven't ridden a bike. So, but I'll get my bike out, and you'll see me along this track at some point.
This trail really has a lot of special significance. You've already heard the speeches, and you understand what they're coming from here. But what drove me from the start was what you can have in the end. A contiguous 50-mile trail from Navy Pier to Crown Point, and even beyond. And that is happening. I talked about Durs and George. They're working on a gap that's been very difficult to work with in the village of Burnham. They're looking to get that accomplished with DNR help as well within the next, and even ComEd help, your utility company, within the next 2 or 3 years. We're working with Cherryville to get it done. You're going to have at least 25 of those miles complete within the next couple of years. So this trail has really taken on quite a bit of momentum. It's been wonderful to see, and it's been wonderful to have all of you here today for this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. You all thought the speeches were done, right? Yeah, one more. All of us at the Illinois Department of Natural Resources are thrilled that this interstate link, and by the way, which side am I on? Well, all right, we can...
Are you allowed to travel out of state?
I'm not, that's the point. I have to have governor's permission to do this. So, bottom line is that trails are very important for all of us. But it's important for us to create safe places for children and families to recreate and to be healthy. Governor Pat Quinn, the guy over there on that side of the line, he tells me often that part of my mission is leave no child inside. Now, those of us that are part of that movement to work on healthy living and getting children outdoors, that's not an uncommon buzzword or buzz phrase. But leave no child inside is the directive that we have, and we need to work very hard at getting work like this done so that we can make that happen and provide parents with good opportunities and access, because it's about access, to get children outside and have those recreational opportunities. All of us at Illinois DNR have been heartened with the cooperation, the work, the intergovernmental agencies all working together to help make this project a reality. Our staff always stands ready to help coordinate and facilitate planning and development on our trails. Everyone here today knows how important they are, but we need to spread the word about the broader involvement, a broader audience that trail projects like this one benefits. Communities also benefit, and we need to get the word out there. One thing that we recently have seen is a survey that talks about how residents feel about their trails. I think it's very interesting to know that 95% of residents in this survey were supportive of their trails. Over 80% of the residents and 90% of the trail users agreed that trails are positive for the community. And we need to get that word out there and to make sure that we have support for more funding, for more cooperation, and to make sure that we know that we're working on these kinds of issues. Regional trail systems like this one that link communities are a great addition to the trail networks here in Illinois and Indiana, and the Pennsy Greenway connects the Burnham Greenway that was just mentioned with the Grand Illinois Trail all throughout Illinois, northeastern Illinois, and northern Illinois. We've worked very hard to get that project moving, and we want to interconnect all of these without further delay. So we're working with a variety of local partners to expand trails in northeastern Illinois. We're working on a project called Millennium Reserve. We're trying to focus on the Calumet and make all these trail connections. And within the Millennium Reserve, we've identified 53 miles of trails that we can connect with a few short connections like this one to expand the possible regional impact of our trails. I want to thank all of you for your advocacy and your support of trails, and thanks again for the invitation to join you today to celebrate this momentous occasion. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.